Today's episode of Down to Earth Talk is sponsored by VOC Magazine, Voice of Champion. Visit www.vocmagazine.com to get your copy of the latest publication today. That's VOC Magazine, the Voice of Champions. Join Apostle Cint Gilstrap as she partners with Brighter Day Missions Liberia in expressing the love of God through educational empowerment, fighting for the rights of the children of Liberia, and hunger alleviation. Your love gift of any amount helps staff educators, provide food for the children, educational equipment, and so much more. To partner with Apostle Cint Gilstrap with Missions to Liberia, or for more information, simply visit www.cgmenterprises.org. The seed that leaves your hand never leaves your life, but goes into your future where it multiplies.
Welcome to Down the Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap on tonight. And listen, we are definitely excited to have this thought-provoking conversation topic of discussion on tonight. I have a very prominent woman of God here with us. I tell you, she wears so many hats in the community in which she lives, as well as abroad. She is indeed considered to be a servant, and I'm just honored to have her here. I know the discussion we're going to have is going to be heated, it's going to be intriguing, it's going to be revitalizing. It's going to be many things. And I think it's a topic of discussion that you would want to hear as it relates to today's society, male and female agenda, how to operate and be efficient as well as effective in our communities, and what type of challenges and adversities that we actually follow. So I'm definitely honored for her to join us on the platform tonight. But with that being said, we also want to give hats off to the producer of the show behind the scene, and he is so diligent, and his efforts and his effect of what he brings to the table, none other than Tasman Sullivan. I'm telling you, I could not do this without him. I love to give my accolades ahead of time, because the time is always for a spin. It goes so fast. But I'm so honored tonight that we have a topic, a grown folks conversation, an adult topic that I think is going to really shed some light on many of you situations. A lot of things we think about, but we rarely ever discuss. We don't talk about it as much as we should. And so with that being said, on tonight, I think we have a topic that's going to open your ears as well as your mind, as well as your thoughts, and you'll be able to see what we see as we make the discussion, have the discussion on tonight. Listen, we have several things going on. This is Down to Earth. So we are a thought-provoking platform, no judgment at all, and we are ready to just dive in. So with that being said, I introduce to some and present to others the none other than a woman of God, the philanthropist, the author, the pastor, the minister, the wife, the sister, the aunt, the cousin. I'm telling you, she wears so many hats. She's an executive in the community, and I'm honored for her presence and her taking out her time tonight. None other than Dr. Elder Colylette James. Go ahead and put your hands together for her on tonight. Welcome, 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 Dr. James, to the platform with us on tonight. We thank God for you, woman of God.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here. I really am. It is definitely my pleasure.
Amen. As she and I was talking behind the scene, I was sharing this topic, and I want to share it with you. I was at I don't know really where I was, but a gentleman walked up to us, and we were in the middle of just having general conversation. And the topic that came forward was how women and men have transferred in their position in the workplace as well in the home. We know now that women have been empowered in their statue of who they are. We're educated. women in society today. Most of us and many of us are the breadwinners in the communities as well as in our home, as it relates to the ones that have husbands, and now the husbands is staying at home watching the children, or either the husband's salary doesn't match that of his wife or significant other. How, as men, are they able to maintain and still be who they need to be in their families, in their communities, and still have equal respect? So we're diving into the topic on tonight. I'm just going to allow Dr. James to open it up.
You know what? It's a very, very interesting topic. And I believe that in many respects, it has been given bad press. And because it's been given bad press, there's a stigmatism, so to speak, that is on it that's unfair. That's truly unfair. Allow me to digress a few years, all right? Even many years, if you think about it. We as women have always had to be that strength for our men. All right. In so many different respects, because the men would go out, they would be beat down, they would have issues on the job, they would have so much weight and pressure on them that when they came home, it was our responsibility to build them up. If we were going to be those true wives and helpmeets in their lives, it was our responsibility to build them up, to make sure that they continue to feel as a king within their own castle, even if they weren't the king out in the streets, even if they were being maligned and discriminated against and going through so many different obstacles and things out there. We wanted to make sure that we built them up in home, and that was our responsibility. Well, fast forward to today, if we are true wives and helpmeet, no matter who's bringing what into the household, it's our household. It is still my responsibility to make sure that my man still feels like he is the king of his castle,
Come on.
whether he is watching the children or out there earning the money, whether I'm earning more money than he is or whether he is the primary breadwinner. The dynamics have changed possibly in the economy of the household and in some of the roles within the household, where men are they're more prone to be more supportive with the children now. And that's just an evolution. That's something that has evolved. They should have always been
Yes.
involved with the children. But because of the societal stigmatisms that were put on men and women, oh, that's women's work, or it's your job to change the diapers, or you need to be doing this or whatever. No, we came together to make this baby. It's both of our jobs to take care of it, seriously. So there have been some dynamics that have changed, but behind closed doors, it is still our responsibility to make sure that he is feeling as the king and that protector, which is what God created man to be, that one that's standing in the gap for his family, be it in the workplace or in the home or on his knees. That's still his job. And it's still our job to be that one to come alongside of him and keep him built up.
I love that. One main component that you said that always sticks out to me is a man on his knees. That's a place of humility that if you see a man praying, then that says a lot about who he is and what the foundation of his household actually stands for. So that says a lot about that individual. What we have to realize, and this is a lot of us, especially now, women right and liberation and women empowerment and women infusers and all the things about women, we have to be mindful, just as you stated, to build the man up and not tear him down, because we understand that at the end of the day, the vision was first given to the man. And regardless of what position that he actually hold, he is still the man in the house. I remember having a conversation with my dad, and my dad said, they treat me, and let me just say this, they treat the darker complexion men as if they have no value nor a voice. And now it's at a point where they're actually causing the men to feel like they're becoming extinct in our communities. So how do we get to a point where we continue to build the men up, to allow them to know that they have a voice, and to let them know they still carry value, because these things are very important. We are now, as women, where we are the ones in the forefront and people hear our voice. We're more vocal now. And so men will take the back seat in some situations, not all, just some. And they, the essence of the household, the essence of business, the essence of the workplace has shifted. But how do we keep that male's voice as important as the female voice in this day and time?
You know what? People are unique in who they are, and they're
Yes.
very different. And most of the time, when you bring together a husband and a wife, you're bringing together two very diverse cultures. All right. But there needs to be an understanding in their coming together, how they cohabitate, how they cohesively work together.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you from my example. I'm the one out on the forefront. I am in ministry. I am an entrepreneur as well as a executive in somebody else's company. You would think on the outside that I'm carrying my family. All right. To a degree, economically, that may be true. However, because I am such a strong woman and a strong will woman, I need an extremely strong man to stand next to me. Now, my husband has had physical issues. He had health issues that caused him to retire from working early. So therefore, yes, I am the quote unquote primary breadwinner. But let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you something. As a strong woman, if I didn't have an equally or stronger man by my side, I couldn't do what I do. So people need to not be on the outside judging just by what they see. And here's the other thing. And this has always been my take. All right. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care how
Mm-hmm.
much money you out there making. If you can't carry me in the spirit, sir, you can't carry me.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
seriously, you can't.
Yes.
You can't. Money,
Yes.
money is a sidebar.
Yes.
You've got to be able to carry me in the spirit. You've got to be able to hear from God where I'm concerned.
Yes.
Because if you can't, then we're gonna have an issue. This is
Yes.
part of being unequally yoked.
Yes.
All right, because we both bring our relationship with the Lord to the table. So I
Mhm.
need to trust your relationship with God the
Yes.
same way you need to trust my relationship with
Come
God.
on.
I
Come on.
think that society has tainted the views of the church to try to bow down and go according to what society is trying to tell you. If
Come
you don't get
on.
back in the word of God, get back
Yes.
in the presence of God, and allow him to teach you how the dynamics of the home needs to go. There are different dynamics in different homes. I'm
Mm.
not Susie Homemaker.
Come
I'll
on.
be real honest with you, and told my husband that before we ever got together. Sir, I will go out there and I will work 20 hours a day on a job. And we'll do it. Have done it for many years. Okay.
Yes.
This house thing, I may cook for you once or twice a week, but you better be good with leftovers because that's not my thing. Okay. Likewise, he
I
was
love
never
it.
that gardener or that fix-it man. That just wasn't his thing. It just was not his thing. You have
Right.
to understand the person that you are attaching yourself with, and not try
Mhm.
to make them be what society says that the husband should be, that the wife should be. Long as we
Amen.
can hire somebody to come in and fix something, we good. Long as I
Amen.
can hire somebody to come in maybe once a week and straighten up my home, I'm good. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying? Understand the dynamics of who you're hooking up with. We're all very, very unique in who we
we
are.
are.
All right.
Mhm.
And so you cannot just go in there with that stigmatism. For me, I had my children extremely young. So I didn't have the luxury of raising my children with a man in the household. When my husband and I got together, my children were like 16 and 17 years old. So they were already teenagers. So that in itself was a mind change because I didn't
Yes.
have men up in my house.
Right.
So my kids just knew mama's rules. And I remember saying this, I'm bringing this up for a reason. I remember talking to a friend of mine when he and I first got together, and I made a statement and she took it so totally out of character, out of content from what I
Wow.
meant. I said, I have to allow him to be the man in my home. And she took it totally like, I was trying to usurp his masculinity and this, that, and the other. And it was like, it was so far from that. No, I have not had that male entity in my
Right.
home. So I
Right.
have to learn, what does it mean to bring this king into this domain that has only had a queen
Yes.
who
Yes.
ruled, okay? Who ruled. We gotta understand, don't let society taint you. I didn't get married till I got saved. There was a reason for that.
Right. Right.
Okay, it took the hand of God in my life for me to be in that place of submission. And submission is not a dirty word. When we say we submit, we are submitting first and foremost to God. What is your plan for this union? This is not just us coming together so we can go and make whoopee, so to speak.
Amen. All right.
What is this about? What else? We are submitting. We as a whole are submitting to you, Lord, so that whatever your plan and purpose is for this union, it could come into fruition. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to be hard work, because it will be.
That's right. That's
It
right.
will be. But at the same time, we have to understand, okay, God, why did you put us together? My
Right.
husband and I are different as day and night. I'm that aggressor. I got to go get it. I got to go get it. I got to go get it. He is laid back and it's like, yeah, it'll be okay. It's like when we're on an airplane, it's so funny because I'm like, come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. He is such a gentleman. He gonna let everybody. I'm like, come on, let's go. But that's the dynamics of who we are.
Right.
So God had to make sure that we learned balance.
I love
I'm
that.
that one to say, okay, baby, come on, we need to take care of this. We need to get this done. He is that one to say, baby, chill. It does not have to be done today. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have to understand that. Again, my example, Susie Homemaker, that's not me. Some women, some ladies that grow up as girls and all they can't wait to do is take care of their home. That was not my thing.
One thing you said that stood out to me, and we need to hear this. As a woman of your caliber, a woman that wears so many hats, how do you identify, or what do you consider to be a strong man?
Oh, there's so many different things. Number one, a man that does not try to usurp his authority over me. That's number one. That does not feel threatened by who I am. My husband doesn't feel threatened by who I am. He honors who I am and he supports me. And he's the one person that can tell me, okay, baby, you need to dial it down. You know what I'm saying? You need to calm down, back up. I learned this from my parents. My mother, God rest her soul, that you talk about fireball, 5'4" and 3/4 of pure fire, okay? Boisterous, just like whoosh, explosion. And my father was soft-spoken and calm and was the only person on the planet that could calm her down.
Wow.
And so I watched that. And I learned that. Now, unfortunately, my father passed when I was 7, so I only had a short window to observe it, but it impacted me because I saw there was no weakness in my father whatsoever. Get him on the other side of that door, and you got something on your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But it was like his honor for my mother. He could calm her down without going into a tirade, without going off. I don't have to put my hands on you. I don't have to call you out your name. I don't have to do all of those things. That does not make you a strong man, just by the way.
Right.
Let me drop that nugget. Okay. let me just, your narcissistic tendencies
Yes.
does not make you strong.
That's
Actually, it
right.
makes you look like a
That's
fool.
right.
Let's
Yep.
be real.
Come on.
Okay, serious, because this is down to earth, real talk, right?
Come on. That's
So,
it.
so that's the truth. But it's how you are able to enhance what God has placed in your woman without feeling threatened.
Yes.
Therein is a strong man that,
Amen.
hey, baby, okay, I am not threatened by your drive. I'm not
Mhm.
threatened.
Yeah.
Now, I need you to respect me as a man. I need you to know that I am a man,
Right.
and don't try to overstep your boundaries here,
Right.
but
Right.
know that I'm here. Know that I'm for you, know that I'm with you, and I'm by your side.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Listen, we get receiving comments about the conversation on tonight. These things are just needed to be talked about and discussed. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This is Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap and my very fine guest, Elder Dr. Colylette James. Stay tuned for these messages.
Join Apostle Cint Gilstrap as she partners with Brighter Day Missions Liberia in expressing the love of God through educational empowerment, fighting for the rights of the children of Liberia, and hunger alleviation. Your love gift of any amount helps staff educators, provide food for the children, educational equipment, and so much more. To partner with Apostle Cint Gilstrap with Missions to Liberia, or for more information, simply visit www.cgmenterprises.org. The seed that leaves your hand never leaves your life, but goes into your future where it multiplies.
And we are back. Thank you all for joining on tonight. This is Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap and my very fine guest on tonight. I'm telling you, she is a powerhouse and a woman of God. She wears so many hats and an executive in the business world. I'm telling you, she carries much weight and much respect. With that being said, none other than I tell you, Dr. Colylette James. So we were just in the middle of talking about what makes a strong man. There's so many things that can define what a man is, but one thing specifically she said that I like is that she loved the fact that her husband prays for her. I don't know about anybody else and the things that you deal with in your entire life, but a man that pray, you have my vote. And I'm not talking about now you laid me down to sleep or Jesus wept. I need you to be able to pick me up in the spirit. Oh, come on, somebody.
Yeah.
Pick me up in the spirit. Know when I'm under attack. That means that we have communication and relationship together, that you know when your husband or your wife is dealing with certain things. And just as she stated, it's not about the money. What matters the most is the foundation that you all have built your marriage upon and working towards that. I heard somebody say before, Dr. James, I heard somebody say it's easy to be in a relationship, but you have to work in a marriage. What you think about that statement?
Part of it is true. I think that if you're in a relationship that you're not putting any work into, it's not a successful relationship to the begin with. You know, if you're just there just to have fun, just to have dinner dates, just to do your thing, then that really doesn't equate to a relationship. That just is, for lack of a better word, you just getting your little freak on or doing a booty call or
All
whatever,
right.
you
Okay.
know.
All right.
um,
Help somebody.
any relationship takes work, even a friendship. If I have friends that we've been lifelong friends, but we've had to work at being friends because there were periods of time where I don't really like you right now, and that person really
Right.
didn't like me right that minute,
Right.
and there may have even been a separation within the friendship, and then it came full circle and came back together. So any relationship you work at, including your relationship with the Father.
That's right.
So if you're in a quote unquote relationship that you want to materialize into a marriage or materialize into things, then there needs to be a foundation laid of work to begin with. If you have not done the work within the relationship before you get to the altar, then you're in for a rude awakening once you get there.
I totally agree with that. It takes time to build any type of friendship, relationship, or marriage. It just takes time. I'm a firm believer that you cannot be a selfish person as you build. You cannot be selfish in your emotions or your time. And many times as women, we are so busy, as you stated, especially in this day and time, that, we barely have time for ourselves. But in the midst of this, what should we do as women to take our time for ourselves? How do we get to the point where you say, you know what, enough is enough? I'm going to put the ministry right here, those that have ministries, and, all the marketplace things I have going on, and, my job every day, and just, take out time for you. How do we do that? How do we set it down? Watch this, and not feel guilty about it, because we deprive ourselves so much.
It's important to learn self-care. It really, really is. And especially as women, especially because we're nurturers. That's part of our nature. And so it's our nature to take care of everybody else. It's part of the DNA that God placed within us as women. Whether you are a biological mother or not, you will find yourself nurturing people around you, taking care of things, which is why we're so good in the marketplace and in the business world, because we're prone to take care of things. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it come together. All right. Because that's our nature. But there comes a point in time, and I experienced it because I was a workaholic for many, many years. I grew up watching my mother be that. And so I had a very strong work ethic, but then it equated to the place of me putting everything into that. And I got to a place of burnout. And sometimes that's what happens. You get to that place where you just don't have anything else to give. There's just nothing else left. And it's a rude awakening to say, you know what, if you don't start taking care of you, you can't take care of anybody else.
Come on.
You can't.
So true.
You can't. But there was a process of getting there. As I minister to people now, and I teach them about the greatness that's within them and their brilliance that God placed within them, I teach that you always have to take some time for yourself.
Exactly.
It's just vital, because if you don't, again, an empty glass can't fill anything else up. You've got to be refilled and refreshed and refueled. God knew that. Why do you think he said to rest on the Sabbath day? Yes. He knew that there was a point in who we are that we have to refresh and refuel. Now, it's very, very important that we understand there is a difference in self-care and taking care of ourselves, and the couple care and taking care of our mates and making sure we have time for them, because that's equally important. We've got to take out time while we're doing all of these things, and we have all these opportunities available to us now as women. So it's a plethora of things that we can go in and we can get involved in, but we've got to make sure that we're taking time for our families. But we also need isolated time for us.
Yes.
Time to de-stress, time to get with you.
Yes.
If you don't love you, how do you expect everybody else to love you?
Yes.
So if I'm to love my neighbor as myself, and I'm willing to take care of my neighbor, they have to be willing to take care of me.
Yes, that's very, very good. One thing you said that I really like was making sure you take care of your mate. Listen, women, we are so busy, and I tell you, we're busy. And now, as a a businesswoman, a minister, you know, an author, and all the hats that I wear. Now to add on to my plate, I became a mother all over again because I have the responsibility of taking care of my granddaughter full time.
Mm.
And so, how do you balance and juggle all those things? Just like you said, you have to learn self care. But
Mhm.
as a woman that's married, what you said was learn how to still have time with your companion. As women, we have to remember and be mindful that men still need that companionship. You still need to build them up. You still, you know, stroke your man because
Yes,
he's your man.
yes.
Make sure you're taking out time. Even if you all just holding hands, eating ice cream or walking through the park, don't ever get too busy that you forget what's important. And what's
Mm.
important in our lives is family. And many times we are so busy running and going against the grain and doing so many things, trying to make decisions, trying to master deadlines and meet deadlines, and
Mhm.
all of these things that we're trying to do, pick up the kids, drop them off, take them here, do this, do that, that he is neglected. And so you never want to neglect the husband. You know, he is the foundation of the home
Mm.
other than God first.
Yeah.
He is. So make sure you're taking care of that. A lot of women start off good. I was married before, so I can say this. The marriage started off wonderful. Everything was good. Everything was smooth. He got busy, I got busy, and our lives just began to shift and change. And instead of continuing to have that date night, you need to have that time where you're able to actually spend with your husband or your significant other without the cell phones, without the laptops, without the iPads, without, you know, the selfie shots, and you know, just shut everything down and give him an hour. This
Mhm.
is what I was listening to one day on the radio. Everybody's talking about the concert with Beyonce. And so I was driving to work and I was listening to Frank Ski in the morning. And so he said this. He said the lady came on the show and she said that she was part of the Beehive. She was part of the and she had to go to this concert. The concert, the tickets were $1,000, but her and her fiance are saving money to purchase a home once they got married. She said, well, I didn't think that it mattered because I put in 3 times more than him in the savings and I made 3 times more than him. But together, we're supposed to be building. She said, so she asked her, you know, her fiance, can she withdraw the $1,000 to go to the concert? So she said she's not going to miss it. None whatsoever. I am a diehard fan of Beyonce. So this is what I'm going to do. She said in return, the husband told her, the fiance told her that if you go to this concert, then the marriage and the engagement is off because your priorities are in the wrong order, which is my point in my climax. What would you say to women like this that are willing to sacrifice the things of the world and not the things in their household when the home should be first? That's something. Yes, ma'am.
Number one, unless she was walking on water, I'm not paying $1,000 to go see Beyonce. Let's put that out there, okay? Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, yeah, we have to get our priorities straight.
Yes.
Seriously. We have to get our priorities straight. And it can never be about, I'm putting 3 times as much as you do. There can never be that tit for tat if you're going to make it work. If we're putting it in the pot, no matter what's going into the pot, it's our pot.
Yes.
It's our pot. So she had the wrong attitude going into it, because
Mhm.
for her to say that, then imagine what it's going to be later.
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's that's a negative foundation that is being built on, because she's already pulling that trump card, I make more money than you.
Right.
So what that said to him, it wasn't, and this is just me talking, but I believe it wasn't so much about her going to see Beyonce that he was against. And he may not have worded it this way, but it was about the fact that you're throwing in my face
Mm.
that you make more than me. So you should be at liberty to do whatever you want to. And for a man, that's a big no-no. That's not building him up. That's not making him feel that he is in that king's seat. Okay. And I believe, because think about it, I'm not going to call off an engagement just because you went to a concert. There's something more to it than that. And she didn't even take time to think about what her words were saying. This is huge, ladies. Please, please hear me. This right here.
Come on.
Will
Talk about it.
Destroy your
Yes.
relationship
Yes.
if you don't get a handle on it.
Yes.
And that's the word.
Yes.
That's in the word.
That's the word.
It will destroy your relationship.
Yes.
You have to learn how to word what you're going to say.
Yes.
All right. Get to know your man. All right. Now, my husband and I next year will have 30 years in on the second marriage. We've been married twice. We was married, divorced, and remarried again. God really had a plan for this. Anyway, but I had to study him and know what buttons to push and what buttons not to push. Okay. So God had to train my tongue. God had to put a guard on my mouth. True story. This is true story. And ladies, and I'm telling you to pray this because you really need this. Okay. I asked the Lord when I got saved. Remember, I told you I didn't get married till I got saved. That was vital. Because I had to get under submission to God before I could get under submission to a marriage and to that kind of a covenant. All right. Because I had been on my own for many, many years and totally. But I asked the Lord to put a guard over my mouth when I got saved, because this was my weapon of choice. It still is, only now I use it to build up people and tear the enemy down. Back then, I was building up the enemy and tearing the people down.
Right.
So God had to flip the script. But I'll never forget, my husband and I was having a disagreement, and he said something to me, and I reverted back to that BC Colylette, that before Christ Colylette. And from deep within my gut, I took a deep breath to project what I was about to say. So you know it wasn't going to be pretty, right? And I was sitting on the couch. This is the honest to God truth. I was sitting on the couch, and as I took that breath to speak, my hand did like this.
Wow.
And I promise you, doctor, I couldn't do nothing but laugh.
Wow.
When it happened, all I could do was laugh, because it was an instant reminder. You told me to put a guard over your mouth, and what you're about to say it will not bring glory to me, so you're not going to say it. And it was so funny to the fact that my husband turned around and looked at me, because I'm sitting here like this laughing. Okay, and we're in this heated discussion. I'm laughing. But we got to learn. We've got to learn. How do you address your man?
Yes.
Because that's part of building him up. How do you treat him? What do you say? I will never, ever, have never, in all the years we've been together, I have never threw up in his face what I make, ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow. And that's
because whatever is coming into the house, be it his Social Security check or my paycheck, it's ours.
It's ours. That's it.
Ours. And we put it together to make it work.
Yes, yes.
We both contribute. It doesn't matter how much, but we both contribute.
I love that. I love that.
To make it work.
I love that. Listen, I'm telling you, it's a hot topic, and I knew that it would be. You all stay tuned. We'll be right back with Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap.
Dr. Cint Gilstrap presents Down to Earth Talk, conversations that inspires, educates, and are thought-provoking. Don't miss Down to Earth Talk, streaming live every Friday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap. For more information how you can be a guest on Down to Earth, simply visit www.cintgilstrapministries.com.
And we are back with Down to Earth Talk. Listen, we have about 15, 20 minutes left, and I'm telling you, the topic of conversation, as I stated, was going to be very intriguing, and I knew that it would. One thing my guest said, and that's Dr. Colylette James on tonight, and I'm telling you, I so honor her in all that she do. She have my utmost respect, I tell you, and a lot of, listen, mine go a long way. It's something about this woman of God. I really, really have respect her the first time that I ever met her in North Carolina. So I thank God for Dr. James, and she is definitely a mentor to many, even behind the scene. And those that may not say a word, you really show us the pathways of what it takes to be strong while we're out here doing what we do. So I thank God for you, woman of God. But the fact that we're talking about the reverence that we give unto our mates and our companions. And one thing is, women, that she said, listen, was this right here. The Bible says that a wise woman build her house, and a weak woman tear her house down. Careless, weak, talkative, you have to learn how to guard this right here, because your mouth would get you in trouble. I realized on my path, if we spent more time listening and not as much talking, regardless of how many titles that we have on our name, it doesn't matter. You have to know when to humble yourself and operate in a level of integrity as well as respect. Your gifts are automatically going to make room for you. God will present you in the presence of great men and women. However, as it relates to your relationship, this right here, it could really destroy what you have built. So we have to be careful, and not just the relationship of marriage, but the relationships of friendship. I am very careful now, woman of God, to speak out of my emotions or out of anger. Yeah. I sit back and now I think. It took me some time at 53 years old to get to this place, but I had to learn how to now calm myself down or revisit the topic of the conversation. Because when you speak out of your emotions, or you speak when you're upset, then you say the wrong things, and words have power. Yes. So what Dr. Colylette said before we went to commercial breaks, she never bring up how much she make to her husband, because that should not matter. What matters is that we're doing it together and the foundation we're building is solid. Are you hearing me? So for all of you tonight, I'm going to kind of shift the conversation. And I want Dr. Colylette to talk to the widows, the divorcees, and the unmarried women now. What do you do? What do we do as we waiting on our husband? I don't want to say Boaz, because I'm beyond that. He died the day after his marriage. I need somebody who's going to ride it out with me. What do we do as we wait, but yet we're building or evolving into these powerful women even more day after day?
You know what? The word of God says that a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. I have to believe, and I'm coming from a person that does have a husband, and I get that, okay? But I wasn't looking for my husband when he came along. All right. I was looking to be the best representation of me I could be. All right. And that's what you have to focus on. Lord, what have you called me to do? First and foremost, there is a lot to be said about the time that you have to yourself, because you can self-care much better than I can self-care. All right. Because my time is so limited. Most of my time is working on this project or that project or doing that job. And the extra time is, okay, let me make sure he doesn't feel left out. Let me make sure that I'm making time for him as well. Now, I'm blessed, all right, at 66, that I don't have little ones running around. So I don't have to worry about taking care of the kids. For you young mothers and wives, you got a whole plethora of things on your plate. You know, you do. But if you're in a widowed place, if you're a divorcee, if you've never been married, be the best you can be. Just live out loud. Live out loud. Enjoy yourself. Love yourself. Don't be so focused in on I need a man when you got a God who will take care of your every need. All right. That you miss the beauty of who you are. Because that happens. We can be so focused on I'm lonely. I need companionship. I need this. I need that. That you miss the beauty of who you are. The point of, you know what, I love me. I enjoy me. I can do me. I can go out with my friends or I can go out by myself and still have a good time. Until, Lord, you bring whoever you want. Now, Father, you know my needs. You know what I would desire. You know what I would want. But more than anything, if he's not from you, I don't want him anyhow. I don't have time to waste.
Come on.
And especially the older we get, I don't have no time to waste.
You don't have time to waste.
Okay, Dr. Cint, it ain't like you high school and you
That's
can go
it.
date this one and go date that one. No, nobody have time for that.
We don't have time.
Or the energy.
That's it.
All right. And again, if you're building a relationship, then this is going to be work for you.
Right.
So you don't have time to play games, and you don't want to start building something that's just going to fizzle out in a few months or even a year. I've seen women that they've put themselves into years of work for something that was never meant to be to begin with, just for it to fail.
Wow.
Just for it to fail. Don't do that, ladies. Don't get desperate. Don't be that, oh, anything or work just so it can be here. No, anything won't work. You are the beloved of God. You are his daughter. You are royalty.
Amen.
And you need to be treated as such. And until God brings that king to come along with you being a queen, then you need to take care of your royal duties to the best of your ability. Be proud in who you are. Wear your crown proudly, not crooked, because you're so busy trying to lean over here and fell over there because you're trying to get over here. No, wear your crown proudly and be the best you can possibly be, and learn to love you. Don't be desperate for somebody else. Learn to love you. When you learn to love you, then you will be better suited to love somebody else.
That is so awesome that you would say that on tonight. Don't be so desperate to be with someone that you're not compatible with. You know, I'm a firm believer in what my mom said years ago and my grandmother. When you lay down with dog, you get up with fleas. Make sure you know who you laying down with, because as you stated, people become so desperate. Yeah. But the desperation you take to be in a relationship or have companionship, spend that time with God. And just as you said, your husband will find you, or your wife, you all will be able to see each other.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, this is an awesome conversation, and it's definitely need to be talked about. And I appreciate you taking out your time. For the women, and I want to jump back real quick, for the women that are married and that have evolved in the marketplace, that are executives in the world, and now making the largest salaries. And watch this, don't have time for intimacy in their home as it relates to stimulating even the mindset of their husbands. What would you say to those women?
Girl, you got to work at it. Let me tell you something. Just as of like 20 minutes before I got on this broadcast, my husband is a sports fanatic, and I could truly care less. Okay? But I find myself sitting there as he's telling me about this team and about that team and this player. And my mind is going, first of all, I don't know who these people are. I don't care. Okay.
Oh my God.
But I have to listen because he wants to communicate with me. And that's what he wants to communicate. Make sure that you're present to listen. We always say men don't talk, but we don't allow them to. If we're doing all the talking and never listening or never giving them safe space to talk
Yes.
about what's on their mind,
Right. That's it.
then they're gonna go find somebody that will listen,
Mm-hmm.
that want to hear what they
Yep.
want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there are times when he'll just look at me and he'll go, "You don't have a clue what I'm
Who
talking
I'm
about."
talking about.
Nope, I don't, but I'm listening. But I'm here. And I'm listening. I'm gonna
I
be
love
that
it.
sounding board.
I love it.
I'm listening. So find the things that your husband enjoys, because he should be doing likewise for you.
Exactly.
You know, like I said, we are the yin and the yang of each other, but we have found that balance. So there is compromises that have to be made. So where I could care less about sports, he may be able to care less about what I need to talk about, but he'll listen. And if he's not interested, he'll pretend that he is. You know, it's love. I don't like this word, but it's real. Learn their love language.
Yes.
Learn what invigorates them.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, because we're this real talk, right? There's
Yes.
gonna come a time, or there may come a time where it's not about that physical passion any longer.
Right.
But you still need to stimulate their mind.
I was just getting ready to say that. Yes, ma'am.
You still
Yes,
need to
ma'am.
stimulate their mind and
Oh,
their
that's good.
hearts.
Yes.
That
Yes.
physical thing will pass, y'all.
Yes.
But are you stimulating their heart and their mind? And likewise, are they doing that for you?
Yes.
And if that has ceased, then you need to have a conversation.
Sanction. Yes. That's
You
so
need to
good.
have a conversation.
Yes.
Here's real talk. Don't sit and stew and lose interest in your mate because they're not meeting you where you need to be and you've not said anything. They're
Right.
not mind readers. There is no crystal
That's
ball.
right.
If
That's
you don't
right.
have a conversation, and this is not an argument conversation, this is just a baby, we just need to talk.
Talk. Exactly.
Because I need to hear where you are, and you
Right.
need to hear where I am.
Love
Because
it.
he may be going through the same thing you're going through because you're not hearing him.
I love it. I love it.
So, yeah, keep the lines of communication open. My husband and I have separated a few times, but the last time was many years ago. Thank you, Jesus. But I told him, because we both have a tendency to shut down.
Okay.
You're not going to get into no knockdown dragouts. No,
Right.
that was not our thing back in the day.
Right.
We could walk around each other for days. Hey, hi, how you doing? And keep it moving.
Right.
And no communication. And so when we came back together in 2009, I was like, listen, this is it. First and foremost, last time, y'all. Okay. But here's the deal. We have to communicate.
Amen.
We cannot shut down. When you stop communicating, you allow the enemy an inroad to both of your psyches, and the enemy will tell you things are going on that aren't. And you'll listen to it because you're not communicating with your spouse to find out what is really going on.
That's good. That's good.
So you got to communicate.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm telling you, thank you so much, Dr. Colylette James, for this conversation on tonight. And these are topics that need to be discussed even more. I wanted to take it to another place, but we don't have enough time for that. But one thing that you said that made so much sense is the stimulation. And I was thinking it, and you said it as I was thinking it. So with that being said, all the women, listen to me. I know that we all desire to be in relationships. Many of us as women that desire to be with a man or a husband. I get that. But watch this. Make sure, and this is my thing, don't marry anybody. Don't take your clothes off prior to marriage or some type of an agreement that you know that is solid for you. Don't do everything a wife would do before the time, because you're delaying the process of him putting a ring on your finger because you're already washing the clothes, you're already doing it. That doesn't draw a man. That makes him feel like he don't have to work as hard. You are the prize.
Yes.
The next thing is make sure he can pray for you. Are you hearing me? Because women that wear multiple hats, we need a lot of prayer because a lot of times we're under spiritual warfare. And if a man cannot pray you through, then that is going to be a problem. He don't have to have all these titles, a pastor, apostle, bishop, an executive president. But if he love God, if he have a heart after God, if he have a prayer life, then he could love you. The next thing is make sure that he could stimulate your mind because he don't even have to touch you to stimulate you and vice versa. Just understand and know to comprehend each other's stimulation. Embrace that. That's communication within itself. You listen, a man can make love to you in your mind before he even touch you physically. And that's vice versa. But make sure you don't marry anyone that's not connected to your future or your destiny because you will end up miserable. Make sure you're not marrying someone that's willing to compete. You don't have to compete in marriage. You have to be equally yoked. Are you hearing me? There's no reason to compete when you understand the foundation of which God has given unto you. So I say unto you again, women, I'm talking to the women because I'm not a man. I'll have a male come on and we'll have that discussion. But for the women, stop being so desperate that you're willing to even marry a man on the down low just to have material things. Oh, I said that. That didn't slip out. I said it intentionally. You know this man is doing things behind the scene, but because you all look good in the public eye, listen, sweetheart, it's not about the public. It's about your foundation at home and your home life. You look good in the public, but you go home miserable and you still lonely. Who wants to be lonely in a marriage? So again, I'm going to leave you all with those things because I understand where I come from. Are you hearing me? If you desire to be in a marriage, make sure that the foundation is solid. That's it. Make sure it's built on the principles of God. He don't have to be a bishop, apostle title. And honestly, for me, that's a lot because I know the warfare I endure. I want him to love God. If he loves God, he could love me because I need him to pick me up in the spirit. Come on, somebody. Amen. So I just want to share those things with you. And it does. Thank you, son. My son says take a collaborative effort, and it does. You have to be able to communicate. And this is one area that is a pet peeve of mine. Don't assume, as Dr. Colylette said, be open to communicate and convey the information to your partner. Don't just assume they should know. Men don't think the way women think, and women don't think the way men think. We think literally ahead of time, and our thoughts are on the next thing and the next thing. Whereas she stated, even with her husband, he's more laid back, but he's watching you just go, 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 go. And so we have to be mindful that balance make a difference, but that area of assumption, always communicate. This is my thing when I'm teaching and I'm counseling. I talk, you listen, and you talk and I'll listen. We cannot talk together. We can sing together, but we cannot talk together. So thank you so much, Dr. Colylette. I so appreciate you for this word of wisdom on tonight. At this time, what I ask that you do is just open up for with the contact information. If you're willing to share that information, how can the guests be, contact you if they have any further questions or they just want to connect with you? What information you would like to share tonight?
Awesome. Well, I'm on Facebook as Elder Colylette James. I am on Instagram as Elder Colylette, Twitter as Minister Colylette, LinkedIn as Dr. Colylette. And my email is colylette@kingdominfluencer.life. My website is kingdominfluencer.life. And just reach out. Google me. I'm all over.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. All of those that joined on tonight. Dr. Kishma George, thank you so much. That is one of my mentors. So I appreciate her and what she brings to this table and to the world. So thank you, Dr. Colette. Kishma George. All of you that chimed in on tonight, thank you. I so appreciate you and what you do, what you have to offer. I'm so honored as always. Before we get off the call, I always ask this, those of you that are listening under the sound of our voice, and will come back and listen later. If you do not have a relationship with God because the time has been far spent, Romans 10:9 says that if thou shalt confess with their mouth and believe in their heart that Christ was raised from the dead, then thou shalt be saved. Confession is known unto salvation tonight, and that if you believe that with your heart, amen, the Bible says you shall be saved. Now, the thing that I admonish you to do is find you a fantastic on fire Bible-based church that is speaking and preaching and teaching the gospel to help transform your life so that you can go out and be a fisher of men. God said, make disciples out of men. And this is the Great Commission. So if you all say, you know what, Apostle, I don't have a church, listen, Dr. Colette has given you her information. You all can find me the same way on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Amen. We're on all the social media platforms. Then you can DM us and say, you know what, I want to connect with you. I want to join with you. And we're open to welcome you into the fold until time permits for you to find a foundation of your own. So God bless you on tonight. To my producer behind the scene, I'm so honored to have him connected to me still. We're going on 3 years. So thank you. And a big congratulations to Pastor Sutherland. He is actually a pastor, so I thank God for him. Again, to Dr. Colette James, do you have any final remarks or words, woman of God?
You know what? Trust God. That's always my final remarks. Trust God no matter what season of life you are in. If you are married, trust God to work it out within your relationship, but make sure you stay connected to the vine, stay connected to the voice of God so that he can lead you in your marriage. If you're single, stay connected to the vine, trust God, and allow him to lead you in the things that he has called you to. So just, trust God, and he will bring your desires to pass.
Amen. Thank you so much. Again, Dr. Colette James, we honor you, woman of God. We appreciate you, and we definitely give you hats off. Thank you for joining the live on tonight. This is Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap. Until next time, we will see you all later. Have a wonderful, powerful, prosperous night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap. This episode is brought to you by VOC Magazine, Voices of Champions. If you would like to be a sponsor or advertise on this show, visit www.cgmenterprises.com for more information. Dr. Cint Gilstrap presents Down to Earth Talk, conversations that inspires, educates, and are thought-provoking. Don't miss Down to Earth Talk, streaming live every Friday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's Down to Earth Talk with Dr. Cint Gilstrap. For more information how you can be a guest on Down to Earth, simply visit www.cintgilstrapministries.com.